Will this weekend's arrests and violence change the race in any way? Here with me in Ohio to talk about it, CNN contributors Bakari Sellers, who's a Hillary Clinton supporter, and Ana Navarro, who voted for Marco Rubio in Florida, former Ohio State Senator Nina Turner, a Bernie Sanders supporter, and Congressman Tom Marino, a Donald Trump supporter. Thanks one and all for being here. I'll start with you, Congressman. What do you say to people who say Donald Trump at these rallies is encouraging violence?
I simply say that Donald Trump is a man that speaks what he feels. And when he speaks what he feels, he's tapping into, obviously, people who are going to come out and vote for him. Now, I don't promote violence. I certainly don't promote someone stopping another group or entity from exercising their First Amendment rights. And Donald has even said that we have to stop the violence. He stopped it in Chicago before it got to a level that I think it may have gotten to. And I think because of people being planted there. MoveOn.org is very clear about they want to be disruptive about these. But he was smart enough to shut it down, but he's talking about what people care about. You know, I come from a rural district. I come from a blue-collar family, and I didn't go to college until 2 weeks after my 30th birthday. I worked in a factory until I was 30. And my wife and I put me through college and law school. And I know what it was like to live from paycheck to paycheck and stretch a buck into next week. And it's difficult, and people are suffering that way now. Donald Trump is feeling that, and he knows it's hurting the American people. People in my district are frustrated with insider Washington people. They're with policymakers that make policies just for them. They're frustrated with Wall Street, the guys who manipulate the market to make money for them.
Right.
But who comes up short is Main Street, the people in my district. And the following that he has is just going to grow. And each time these people get there and start fights and start interrupting his campaign, it's just going to grow even more.
And Anna, I would just want to ask you about this because Marco Rubio sounded full of despair this morning and also said he was very concerned that before this is over, somebody is going to lose their life.
You know, I could identify and sympathize with every word that was coming out of Marco's mouth because both Marco and I come from a community that is full of political exiles, that has seen strong men rise in countries in Latin America. And I think we are very concerned about it. When we see a Donald Trump and that kind of populism and that kind of negative rhetoric, I think it brings back very bad memories for anybody that, like me, or like Marco's parents, had to flee that kind of populism in our home countries. Look, here's the thing. Donald Trump is no longer the host of The Apprentice. He is now the front runner for the Republican nomination. It is time that he grows into this position. It is time that he starts acting presidential. Is it so hard for his campaign manager to tell the reporter from a right-wing blog that supports him, that has now charged him with alleged assault on her? Listen, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. Things got out of control, but I am sorry. Is it so hard for him to make a distinction between being politically correct and being civil? Is it so hard for him to call for unity? Is he running to be the president of a faction of the Republican Party, or is he running to be the president of the United States of America? Every Republican, every single Republican, if we love the democratic process, if we love our party, if we love our country, should be calling today for civility from every single candidate, and that includes you, sir.
Let me ask you, Nina. There clearly is a lot of passion on I can't say both sides because there are a million sides across the spectrum. Yeah. Is there any responsibility that those who are protesting Donald Trump have to also take the temperature down?
Oh, we all have a responsibility. There's a maelstrom of emotion that's surfacing to the top. But for Mr. Trump to imply in any way that Senator Sanders, that our campaign has anything to do with this, people are hurting. I certainly agree with my governor, Governor Kasich, when he said that Mr. Trump is creating a toxic environment. But I want to take it one step further, Jake. You know, as somebody who is a historian, in terms of Mr. Trump saying he wants to make America great again, for some folks in this country, great again, what does that mean? we really do have to deal with the underlying factors of racism in this country that we refuse to deal with. And although Mr. Trump is helping that to percolate to the surface, this is not just about him. We need to look at the men and the women in the mirror in this country to understand why these feelings, why somebody is going to hit, an elderly gentleman hit a young African-American man who was being taken out by the police. And what do the police do? Instead of turning to that elderly gentleman and arresting him for assault, they continue to push the young African-American out of the door.
Although they did arrest him the next day.
But Jake, they didn't do it. You're right, though.
I'm
No,
just
you're
saying,
right.
for the
I'm
record.
with you. For the
Yeah.
record, they did, but they didn't do it right then. So this is racism is in the DNA of this country, and we're seeing it percolate up to the surface. We have moments like this in our history. Even when President Obama was elected, that kind of stuff percolated to the top. And the chickens are coming home to roost. It is ironic to me that some of the same Republicans right now, some of them who are calling out Mr. Trump, did not call him out when he pushed the birther movement on our African-American president, President Barack Obama. They were nowhere to be found. They thought it was cute. Now that it's plaguing their house, it's not so cute anymore.
Bakari?
I mean, I think that Donald Trump's rhetoric is dangerous. I think that Donald Trump is a political arsonist. I think that what we're seeing right now is that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And what he's doing is that dangerous. I was speaking to my father about the fact that I wanted to go see a Donald Trump rally. And when my father, who is over 70 years old, who actually got shot in the civil rights movement, said no, because I've seen this before, because I've seen this type of climate, because I've seen this type of rhetoric before, and I don't want you in that environment, it speaks to me. It's very profound. And I think that we need to take a step back. I think that everyone, and I was very pleased to hear, this is not the first time that Ann has actually given this pledge and this plea to her fellow Republicans. But as a country, we have to unite. We have to get bigger than this. It's not about the protesters.
Yeah.
This is about Donald Trump and Donald Trump's rhetoric that is dangerous for the fabric of this country. And Donald Trump is not a racist. He's something even more dangerous because he's utilizing racism to build his movement. And I think that is something, when you have knowledge of it, and when you're playing to the lowest common denominator of racism and hate, and yes, we have people who are angry in this country, but we do not have to speak to those tenets. And for me, that's very fearful, and it reminds me of a part of this country that I want to make America great again, but there's certain elements I don't want to go back to.
That's right.
Congressman, I'll give you the last word.
As we see throughout the campaigns, throughout the protests, Donald Trump has stepped up and said, we're not going to tolerate this. And he means not from the point from anyone on his side, anyone on any other candidate's side. And he really, truly is addressing the issues that the American people are concerned about. And he's going to continue to address the issues of, let's keep this peaceful. I'm not going to stand for it. And he's going to win the nomination, and I believe he's going to beat Hillary.
Does it concern you at all, sir, when you hear Donald Trump say things like punch him in the face or carry him out on a stretcher or go after the guy, and if you do, I'll pay your legal bills? I mean, he has said those things.
He has said those, but look, I don't agree with Donald on everything. And I'm not one to speak like that. For your information, I was a prosecutor for 18 years. I was a prosecutor for 18 years. I'm talking now. Don't interrupt me. I was talking.
You have a right
You had
to
your
denounce
turn.
him. You have a
You had
duty
your
to
turn
denounce
to
him.
talk. Give me my turn to talk. I protected people my entire life. You don't know what discussions I may have or may not have. But I know
You're
what
on
I've heard
national
come out.
TV.
I
You
know
have a
what
platform today.
Donald Trump has said recently, and he's going to continue to say that. And I said before, I don't condone violence. I'm not going to condone it. And I'm going to stand up and speak that let's knock this off.
See, here's my problem. I don't know what Kool-Aid the Donald Trump supporters drink, but if they don't agree, it's not enough not to agree. If they have a national platform,
Okay,
denounce
Anna.
it and call for civility.
Thank you very much.